The syringe looked wrong before I knew why. Under the ICU lights, the liquid held a faint amber cast instead of running clear, and when I tilted it, it moved too slowly against the barrel. I stopped with my thumb resting beneath the plunger. Behind me, a heart monitor counted out Adrian Vale's pulse in clean electronic beats. "Is there a problem?" a woman asked. Her voice was polished enough to hide impatience. I checked the label again. Same medication. Same ordered dose. Wrong lot number. My shift had already run 14 hours, my feet ached inside my white shoes, and the coffee beside the workstation had gone cold before midnight. I wanted to finish the post-procedure medications, give report, and go home to an apartment where no one needed me to notice anything. But wanting something had never made it safe. My mother had died after a medication error no one admitted until the records were sealed and every responsible person found softer words for what happened. Complication. Miscommunication. Unfortunate outcome. I had been 19 and too frightened to challenge people with titles. I had built the rest of my life around never being that silent again. "I need to verify this," I said. The woman beside the bed, Vanessa Cross, according to the visitor list, folded her arms over a cream-colored coat that probably cost more than my car. Dr. Cole changed the order. Adrian Vale turned his head toward her. He had arrived less than an hour earlier with blood darkening one side of his shirt and 3 men clearing the corridor without raising their voices. Now the wound beneath his ribs had been closed, his color was returning, and he watched the room with a stillness that made everyone else move more carefully. He had not threatened anyone. He had not needed to. When an administrator tried to transfer him before Dr. Cole cleared it, Adrian had said, "No," one word. The administrator had stepped back. "The order hasn't changed in the system," I said. Vanessa moved closer. "The system is behind. Give him the medication." My immediate goal was simple: verify the drug, keep my patient stable, finish the shift. The resistance was standing 6 inches from me in heels, speaking as though my license belonged to her. I reached for the intercom. "Dr. Cole, this is Claire Bennett in ICU 3. Did you change Mr. Vale's post-procedure medication?" Static crackled. Then his tired voice answered. "No changes. Use the original order." Vanessa's expression shifted for less than a second. Not fear. Calculation. Her right hand came toward the syringe. A small white bandage wrapped her index finger. "Let me see that." I moved the tray beyond her reach. "Please step back." One of Adrian's men took a single pace forward. Adrian lifted 2 fingers from the blanket, and the man stopped immediately. Restraint, not noise, carried the authority in that room. Adrian's gray eyes settled on me. "What did you see?" I should have softened it. I should have asked for security, pharmacy, another witness. Instead, I heard my mother's monitor flatline in a room full of people who had waited too long to say the obvious. "Your fiancé changed the syringe," I said. Silence tightened around us. Vanessa gave a quiet laugh that failed to reach her eyes. "She's exhausted. She doesn't know what she saw." "I know the medication should be clear," I said. "I know the viscosity is wrong, and the lot number doesn't match what pharmacy issued." Adrian did not look at me. He looked at Vanessa. "Did you touch it?" I was helping. That wasn't my question. She opened her mouth, then closed it. I placed the syringe back on the tray, sealed it inside a specimen bag, photographed the label according to hospital protocol, and spoke the time into the recording function on my old nurse's watch. The display ran 2 minutes slow. It always had. "Lock this room," Adrian said. His voice remained low. "No one leaves until pharmacy verifies it." The door clicked shut. I positioned the sealed tray beside the bed and turned to call the pharmacist. It took less than 30 seconds for the elevator to open and the on-call pharmacist to enter. When I faced the tray again, the specimen bag was torn. The syringe was gone. Then Adrian's monitor stuttered behind me. 1 clean beat. A pause. 3 rapid alarms. I had never pushed the plunger, but something was already inside him. The monitor broke into a jagged rhythm. I moved before anyone else did. Oxygen. 12 lead. Draw blood now. The pharmacist froze beside the torn specimen bag, but Dr. Cole pushed through the door as I lowered Adrian's bed and checked his pulse. Fast. Uneven. Still strong enough to fight. I never injected him, I said. Then this started before the syringe. Adrian watched me through the pain without asking whether I was sure. Vanessa did. She was alone with him. Marcus stepped between us, broad shoulders filling the narrow space. Everyone stays where I can see them. My first instinct was to tell him hospital staff did not answer to him. My second was to keep Adrian alive. I chose the second. Then make yourself useful, I said. Lock the medication room, stop waste disposal, and preserve every camera feed on this floor. Marcus looked at Adrian. Adrian's jaw tightened once. Do what she said. The order changed the room. Not because it was loud. Because every man near the door obeyed before the sentence ended. Dr. Cole connected the leads while I drew 2 blood samples from Adrian's line and sealed them separately. Different labs, I told him. Independent chains of custody. Vanessa gave a brittle laugh. You're treating this like a crime scene. Someone removed evidence from a sealed tray, I said. What would you call it? Her gaze hardened. Adrian's heart rhythm began to settle under treatment, but sweat stood along his temples. He never reached for anyone. Never cursed. When Marcus suggested moving me to a private location for questioning, Adrian turned his head with visible effort. She stays in the hospital. Sir, with hospital counsel present. His eyes found mine. And no one touches her. It was the first unexpected thing he had done. He could have closed the doors and made me disappear into his version of procedure. Instead, he placed a limit on his own people while he was vulnerable enough to have every reason not to. I did not mistake that for trust. But I noticed it. Marcus returned 20 minutes later with a tablet. Hallway cameras dropped for 4 minutes. Same window, the syringe vanished. He set the screen near Adrian. The access log shows Miss Cross's guest badge opened the medication corridor. Vanessa's face went still. Claire borrowed it. I did not. You expect him to believe you? She asked. I expect the original log to be preserved before anyone edits it. I turned to the nursing supervisor. Call legal. Freeze the server copy. That choice cost me whatever chance I had left of keeping this quiet. Once legal touched it, my name would be attached forever. So would my license. Marcus searched the unlocked staff room while counsel was called. He returned carrying my canvas tote by 2 fingers. My stomach tightened. This was inside. A discarded syringe wrapper lay in a clear evidence pouch. Same manufacturer. Same lot number. My fingerprints would be on half the supplies from that cart. Vanessa exhaled as if the room had finally corrected itself. Adrian looked from the pouch to me. Explain. I can't explain something I didn't put there. I took 1 step closer despite Marcus blocking half the space. But whoever did wiped it. Smell the plastic. Dr. Cole leaned near the pouch. Solvent. That bought me doubt, not innocence. Then the first lab result arrived. Dr. Cole read it twice. There's a cardiac sensitizer in his blood. It was present before admission. The room changed again. The syringe had not started the attack. It had been meant to finish it. Behind the sealed waste bin, a technician called my name. I turned. In her gloved hand was an empty supplement packet bearing Adrian Vale's name, something no one at St. Catherine had ordered. The empty packet looked harmless in the technician's hand. White foil. Blue lettering. Adrian Vale's name printed across the label. But harmless things did not usually turn up in sealed medical waste when the patient named on them had never received them there. "Where did you get that?" Marcus asked. The technician pointed toward the isolation bin I had ordered locked down. "Under the liner." Marcus reached for it. "Don't." My voice stopped him before his hand crossed the yellow barrier. He turned slowly, unused to being corrected. "It needs to be photographed where it was found, then sealed by hospital staff," I said. "If your people handle it first, every attorney in the city will call it contaminated." Adrian lay against the raised bed, pale beneath the hard fluorescent light. His rhythm had steadied, but the lead still crossed his chest and his movements remained careful around the bandage beneath his ribs. "Follow her procedure," he said. Marcus's jaw flexed. Then he stepped back. That was how Adrian's power worked. No performance. No argument after the decision. A man who looked ready to break hospital policy simply obeyed because Adrian had chosen restraint. Dr. Cole examined the packet through the clear evidence sleeve. "This isn't on his medication list." "It's a recovery supplement," Vanessa said too quickly. "He takes it after long nights." Adrian looked at her. "Do I?" The question was quiet enough to make the monitor seem loud. Vanessa adjusted the belt of her cream coat. "You've used it before." I studied the preliminary blood report again. The compound detected in Adrian's system belonged to the same general class listed on the packet. Not enough to cause the episode by itself. Enough to make his heart dangerously responsive to the wrong medication. "I need everything he consumed in the last 12 hours, I said. Adrian's eyes narrowed. "That includes private locations." "Your heart doesn't care about privacy." Marcus looked offended on his behalf. Adrian did not. "Why?" "Because the syringe wasn't the first step. Someone prepared your body before you reached this hospital." The words changed his face, not fear, exactly. Something colder. He gave Marcus a short list of calls to make. Within minutes, security footage, kitchen records, vehicle logs, and delivery receipts from places I had never heard of began arriving on the tablet. Men answered at 2 in the morning because Adrian asked once. Yet when Marcus suggested seizing every employee's phone, I stopped him. "You'll destroy cooperation and warn whoever planned this. We don't ask permission when Mr. Vale is targeted. Then tonight your usual methods are a liability." Silence followed. Adrian watched me long enough that I felt my pulse in my throat. "No seizures," he said at last. "Preserve the records." Question no one yet. I had changed his decision. The realization unsettled me more than his anger would have. Vanessa's name appeared repeatedly in the private meal log. She had brought Adrian a vitamin drink the previous evening. The remaining bottles were missing from his residence. "Convenient," she said, staring at me. "Everything seems to point wherever she looks." "Not everything." I turned the tablet toward Dr. Cole. The medication record showed I had received the syringe at 9:16. I remembered the wall clock reading 9:14 when I entered Adrian's room. My old nurse's watch always ran 2 minutes slow, so I had recorded the handoff without correcting it. If the elevator log matched, someone had changed the chart after I spoke. I opened the audio note. My own tired voice gave the time and lot number. Beneath it came the faint chime of the automatic medication clock. Then Vanessa's voice, distant but clear, speaking near the doorway to someone I could not hear. "He took the first dose." Adrian stopped breathing for one beat. So did I. Adrian's eyes stayed on the watch in my hand. "Play it again." I did. My own recorded report came first, thin beneath the hum of the ICU. Then the medication clock chimed in the background. Then Vanessa's voice, "He took the first dose." No name. No answer from whoever stood beyond the doorway. Just 6 words that made the room feel smaller. Vanessa recovered first. "You're taking that out of context." "Then give me the context," I said. She looked at Adrian instead of me. He did not rescue her from the question. I was talking about his pain medication. Dr. Cole shook his head. He hadn't received any before arrival. Marcus reached for the watch. I closed my fingers around it. This stays with me until hospital legal makes a copy. His expression hardened. It may be evidence in an attempt on Mr. Vale's life. Which is exactly why it doesn't disappear into a private security office. The words landed sharper than I intended. Adrian's face changed, not with offense, but recognition. He knew I was thinking about the missing syringe. She keeps it, he said. Marcus stepped back. Vanessa stared at him as though that decision wounded her more than the recording did. I replayed the note and focused on the automatic chime. The hospital's medication clock synchronized every hour. My watch ran 2 minutes slow, but the chime in the recording had sounded at the true time. I entered this room at 9:14, I said. The chart claims pharmacy released the syringe to me at 9:16. Dr. Cole pulled up the electronic record. The system timestamp is fixed. Unless someone changed it afterward. Marcus brought up the elevator log. My badge had left the lower floor at 9:11. The elevator reached ICU at 9:13. There was no physical way I could have opened the medication corridor, altered the camera feed, planted the wrapper, and still been beside Adrian when my recording began. The evidence against me had been designed to look complete. Too complete. Someone built a timeline around her, Adrian said. His voice had gone quiet again, but this time the quiet felt different. Not authority. Anger held on a short leash. Marcus checked the workstation history. A staff account had been used while its owner was documented in surgery. Vanessa's guest badge had opened the outer door, but the internal changes came from stolen credentials. At least 2 points of access. Maybe 2 people. Maybe 1 person with help. The mystery narrowed and widened at the same time. Adrian looked at me. You're free to leave. For a moment, I thought I had misheard him. Marcus did too. Sir, she's still a witness. Not a prisoner. Adrian reached toward the bedside table, stopped when the movement pulled at his bandage, then looked back at me. Your phone. Your badge. Everything returned. Marcus obeyed, though reluctantly. My canvas tote felt heavier when it came back to me. Freedom should have made the decision simple. Go home. Call an attorney. Let men with money and influence tear each other apart without me. Instead, I looked at the monitor beside Adrian's bed, at the rhythm that had nearly broken before I touched the syringe. Then I looked at Vanessa, whose face had become unreadable. I'll stay, I said. But no one makes a decision involving me without telling me first. Adrian held my gaze. Agreed. It was not trust. Not yet. But it was a choice made on equal ground. Dr. Cole's phone vibrated. He read the message, then turned the screen toward us. The lab had found blood trapped inside the torn seal of the medication box recovered from the cart. Hospital counsel had authorized comparison swabs from everyone with documented access. The sample was small, but usable. Before anyone could speak, my own phone lit with an automated security alert. Someone outside ST. Catherine had opened the incident report I had filed less than 3 minutes earlier. The access level belonged to the Vale Foundation board. The alert stayed bright in my hand while everyone else seemed to stop moving. Vale Foundation board access. Outside the hospital. Less than 3 minutes after I filed the report. Adrian held out his hand. Not for my phone. For an explanation. Who can open it? I asked. Marcus answered. Board counsel. Executive trustees. Emergency successors. Vanessa's gaze flicked toward him, then away. Dr. Cole closed the door and lowered his voice. The lab confirmed the substance class. Combined with what was already in his blood, the missing injection could have caused sustained arrhythmia, loss of consciousness, possibly worse. He did not name the compound. He did not need to. I looked at Adrian's monitor, then at the bruised skin around his fore. Someone had not planned a dramatic death. They had planned a believable medical collapse. What happens if you can't make decisions? I asked. Adrian's expression tightened. That question crossed from medicine into the architecture of his life. A temporary authority clause activates. Who receives it? He glanced at Vanessa before answering. My fiancé and the Foundation's succession advisor. The air changed. Not because it proved anything. Because it gave the danger a direction. Vanessa stepped forward. This is absurd. You're letting a nurse turn a medication error into a conspiracy. A medication error doesn't erase 4 minutes of video, I said. It doesn't alter timestamps or put cleaned evidence in my bag. My voice stayed even, but my hands had begun to shake. I tucked the phone against my palm so no one would see. My ordinary life was still technically waiting beyond the locked unit, my apartment, my unpaid electric bill, tomorrow's schedule pinned above the nurse's station. But the incident report now carried my name. Whoever had opened it knew exactly who had refused the syringe. Going home would not return me to who I had been yesterday. It would only make me easier to reach. Dr. Cole set the final lab summary on the counter. Claire, once you sign the medication interference report, this leaves internal review. There will be licensing interviews, legal scrutiny, media exposure if Vale's condition becomes public. He meant it as a warning. I heard my mother's case in every careful word. A truth softened until no one had to own it. I picked up the pen. Adrian watched me. You don't owe me this. I'm not signing it for you. I wrote my name beneath the findings. Claire Bennett, RN. The ink looked impossibly dark. I'm signing because someone tried to turn a patient's body into paperwork. That signature closed the last door behind me. Marcus immediately began issuing instructions, but Adrian stopped him. No suppression. No pressure on the hospital. Marcus stared at him. This report could expose your condition. Then let it. Adrian looked at me, not his men. But the original evidence leaves this building. Not under your control, I said. His jaw shifted. Explain. 3 copies. 1 stays with hospital legal. 1 goes to independent counsel. The 3rd goes somewhere neither your foundation nor this hospital can reach. Where? If I tell you, it stops being independent. For several seconds, the most powerful man in the room said nothing. I expected refusal. Instead, he nodded once. Do it. Trust did not arrive like warmth. It arrived like space, an area he could have occupied and chose not to. I sent the first encrypted file to hospital counsel, the second to the attorney on call, then stored the 3rd copy in a location only I knew. Adrian never asked again. Marcus released a controlled update through Vale's private medical channel: complications, unstable rhythm, possible temporary incapacity. A lie built from just enough truth to be dangerous. We waited. 9 minutes later, his tablet chimed. Someone with board credentials had opened the emergency succession file. A second alert followed. The transfer protocol had been prepared but not completed. Vanessa stood perfectly still beside the window. Then Dr. Cole's phone rang. The DNA comparison was ready. He listened without speaking, his eyes moving slowly toward her bandaged hand. When he ended the call, his face had gone pale. The blood inside the medication seal belongs to Vanessa Cross. Vanessa did not look at the bandage on her finger. She looked at Adrian. I opened the box because no one here seemed capable of protecting you. Her voice remained smooth, but the hand at her side had curled into a fist. Adrian's monitor kept a steady rhythm behind us. He said nothing. That silence gave me room to act. The seal was broken before my shift, I said. And my recording captured you saying he took the first dose. Vanessa turned toward me with something colder than panic. You heard 6 words through a doorway. Then explain them. I was discussing his medication. Dr. Cole already confirmed he hadn't received any. Her eyes moved to Adrian again, asking him to end this without saying so. He didn't. Did you know what was in the syringe? He asked. Vanessa's face softened with practiced hurt. You're questioning me because she told you to? I'm questioning you because your blood was inside the seal. The words were quiet. That made them worse. Vanessa drew a breath. It wasn't supposed to go this far. Dr. Cole stopped writing. Marcus's shoulders shifted beside the door. I felt Adrian's attention sharpen. How far was it supposed to go? I asked. Vanessa's gaze cut toward me. Far enough for him to stop. Stop what? Controlling every room. Every decision. Every person. Her composure cracked at the edges. You think standing beside him makes you special? It makes you furniture. Adrian flinched so slightly I might have imagined it. But I had spent years reading pain people tried to hide from monitors. This one had no machine. Marcus searched Vanessa's coat with her consent recorded by hospital counsel. From an inner pocket, he removed a slim disposable communicator. One message remained on the screen: if the nurse speaks again, discredit her. The words changed the danger. Whoever stood behind Vanessa did not merely want me silent. They wanted me unbelievable. She stays out of this from now on, Adrian said. I turned toward him. No, Claire, we agreed no decisions involving me without telling me first. I'm telling you now. After deciding. His jaw tightened. The threat is directed at you. So was the evidence planted in my bag. I'm still the reason you know any of this happened. Marcus looked between us, waiting for Adrian's order. Adrian's instinct was visible in every controlled breath. Close the doors, move the people, reduce the variables. Protect by taking choice away. You signed a report that can expose the entire operation, he said. That makes you a target I cannot ignore. Then don't ignore me. Listen to me. I stepped closer to the bed, keeping my voice low. If you remove me now, whoever sent that message learns exactly what frightens you. They'll know I matter to the investigation. His eyes held mine. For a moment, I thought he understood. You remain involved, he said finally. On my terms. On agreed terms. A long pause. Then he nodded. It was not surrender. It was recognition. Vanessa laughed once, without humor. He'll choose the Empire when it matters. Marcus's phone vibrated. Adrian read the screen before Marcus could turn it away. Something passed between them. A decision. Too fast. Too private. What is it? I asked. Adrian looked at me, and for the first time since this began, he did not answer directly. Nothing you need to act on yet. The promise between us shifted under those words. I felt it. He had heard my boundary and stepped around it anyway. I walked into the corridor to call hospital legal and found every television above the nurse's station showing the same breaking statement from Vale Foundation. Adrian Vale denied any evidence of deliberate medication tampering. The notice named me as an exhausted nurse whose judgment was under internal review. My badge deactivated in my hand before I finished reading. Behind me, Adrian's door opened. I turned toward him. He had protected the trap by sacrificing the one thing I had asked him not to take, my right to choose the cost. I held the dead badge between two fingers while Adrian stood in the doorway behind me. The televisions kept repeating the statement in clean white letters. Exhausted nurse. Judgment under review. My name looked smaller every time it crossed the screen. Turn them off, Adrian said. No one moved until Marcus reached the control panel. The silence afterward was worse. You promised me, I said. Adrian's face had lost what little color remained, but he stayed upright with one hand braced against the frame. I needed whoever opened your report to believe you were isolated. So you made it true. Hospital counsel arrived with my suspension notice before he could answer. I signed the receipt because refusing would not preserve my dignity. It would only let them say I had become unstable. I returned my badge, kept my phone, and refused to surrender the encrypted evidence copies. That was my costly choice. Walking out meant losing access, income, and the career I had built to make sure another family never heard the word complication used as a shield. Staying under Adrian's protection meant accepting that he could spend my life like currency whenever his strategy demanded it. Give us the evidence, Marcus said. We can secure it. You already secured me into unemployment. Adrian's eyes closed briefly. The consequence of his decision had finally reached him, and it wore my name. Claire, I can repair the suspension. That is exactly the problem. You still think power can repair what power broke. He asked me to trust him once more. I told him trust was not an order he could issue after removing my right to choose. Then I walked away before the pain in his expression could make me kinder than the moment deserved. The elevator carried me down through floors that no longer recognized my badge. In the parking garage, the air smelled of wet concrete and engine oil. 2 black vehicles waited near my car. Men I recognized from Adrian's hallway stood far enough back to pretend they were not guarding me. I called Marcus. Remove them. That isn't safe. Neither is being followed by armed strangers. Adrian took the phone. They stay. His voice was low, exhausted, and still convinced control was another word for care. Then you learned nothing. I ended the call. The vehicles withdrew 5 minutes later, but one remained near the exit. He had obeyed only enough to preserve the illusion of my choice. Vanessa stepped from behind a concrete pillar after they were gone. Her cream coat was buttoned to the throat. The bandaged finger trembled around a small key card. Richard promised me authority, she said. A seat that belonged to me, not a place beside Adrian where I smiled and waited. The name landed harder than I expected. Richard Hale. Adrian's succession advisor. His former guardian. You helped poison him for a title? It wasn't supposed to kill him. Her eyes shone, but there was no remorse in them. Only fear. It was supposed to make him stop long enough for the transfer. That changed one belief and destroyed another. Vanessa had not been forced into betrayal. But she was no longer certain the man behind it intended to keep her alive. Give me the copies, she said. We can both disappear. No, then Richard will erase you first. Testify. She looked toward the garage entrance as though expecting someone. You still think truth protects people. She moved toward the exit, but the remaining black vehicle rolled forward and blocked her path. At 11:47, Marcus forwarded a system alert showing that the Veil transfer protocol would finalize at midnight. Beneath it came a private message from Richard Hale. Bring the evidence. Or Adrian loses everything before he wakes. I stared at the words until the screen dimmed. Adrian had taken my career to preserve his trap. Now I had 12 minutes to decide whether I would save the man who had sacrificed me, or let his empire fall with the trust he had broken. At 11:49, I called Adrian. No guards. No hidden team. No decision made for me. His answer came after one strained breath. Where are you? A place your foundation doesn't own. I sent him the address of an empty consultation office across from St. Catherine, then disabled location sharing before entering. He arrived with Marcus and Vanessa 6 minutes later. Adrian looked worse than he had upstairs, gray beneath the skin, one hand pressed carefully near his bandage, but he came without the wall of men that usually moved around him. You issued that statement without my consent, I said. And followed me after I told you not to. Yes. No excuse. No strategy disguised as apology. I believed keeping control mattered more than your choice. His eyes stayed on mine. I was wrong. The admission did not repair my career. But it changed the room. Then these are my terms, I said. No weapons at the meeting. The real evidence stays elsewhere. You do not intervene until Richard explains the transfer and the medication plan in his own words. Marcus started to object. Adrian stopped him with one look. Agreed. Vanessa laughed under her breath. He'll let you walk into danger because he needs proof. I placed Richard's message on the table. Then tell us what proof he thinks I have. She stared at the screen until fear finally defeated pride. I gave Adrian the supplement last night. Richard said it would only prepare his system. Her voice thinned. I opened the medication box and replaced the syringe. I knew it could stop his heart if the reaction went wrong. Adrian did not move. That restraint cost him more than anger would have. The wrapper in Claire's bag? Marcus asked. Richard's hospital contact planted it. My badge opened the outer door. His contact used stolen credentials to change the record and cut the cameras. The blood in the seal. The 4 missing minutes. The timestamp built around me. Every clue turned toward the same design. Why? I asked. Vanessa looked at Adrian. Because if he remained alive but medically incapable, the succession clause transferred authority to Richard and me. Richard promised I would control the Foundation. And you believed him, Adrian said. I believed you would never see me as anything except an alliance. The cruelty of her choice did not disappear because the wound beneath it was real. Marcus's phone showed 11:58. He held it toward Adrian. I can stop the transfer. Adrian looked at the screen, then at me. If he blocked it, Richard would vanish. If he let it complete, the city he controlled would move into another man's hands. My false belief had always been that I needed perfect proof before speaking. Adrian's was that control could prevent betrayal. Now proof required him to surrender control completely. Let it happen, I said. Marcus stared at him. Adrian's jaw tightened. Do nothing. Midnight arrived without sound. The transfer indicator changed from pending to active. Adrian Vale lost legal control of his foundation while standing 3 feet from me. Richard's next message appeared immediately with an address. Adrian handed me the phone. You can stop. No, I checked the battery on my nurse's watch and activated the recording function. Vanessa agreed to testify through Marcus's secure line. Adrian gave one final order, to no one but himself. I won't enter until you signal. At the meeting site, Richard waited alone behind a glass desk. His phone displayed the Vale Foundation seal and his new authority. He smiled when I entered. He lost his city because he believed a nurse. I closed the door behind me. No, I said. He lost it because he finally believed the truth. Richard's smile barely moved. Then give me the evidence. I placed a sealed envelope on the glass desk. Empty paper inside. The real files were beyond his reach, exactly where Adrian had agreed they would remain. First, I need to know he survives, I said. You designed this to disable him, not kill him. Pride did what pressure could not. Richard leaned back. Vanessa gave him the sensitizer. The replacement syringe would have produced a convincing cardiac collapse. Long enough for the incapacity clause to transfer control. My nurse's watch felt warm against my wrist, recording every word. And when I stopped the injection? You became the flaw. His eyes hardened. A dead nurse invites questions. A discredited one turns the truth into negligence. The missing video, the altered timestamp, the wrapper in your bag, people believe paperwork before they believe women who sound afraid. I was afraid. I pressed the side button anyway. One small vibration confirmed the signal had gone through. Richard noticed. His hand shot across the desk. I removed the watch before he could grab my wrist and set it between us. You wanted proof, I said. There it is. Vanessa's voice came through the phone Marcus had connected remotely. She confirmed the supplement, the syringe, the stolen access, and Richard's promise of control. Richard's face emptied. He reached for his phone to summon Vale security. The screen denied his command. Not because Adrian had secretly reclaimed power. Because Marcus had frozen all operational action the moment my signal completed the evidence chain. Adrian entered alone. No weapon. No men rushing behind him. Richard stood. You have no authority here. Adrian looked at the Foundation seal glowing on Richard's screen. Not tonight. His gaze shifted to me, checking without approaching. He waited. That was the change. The old Adrian would have entered before my signal, taken the room, and called it protection. This man let me finish. Richard turned toward him. Vanessa betrayed you. Deal with her, and the board may still restore you. Adrian could have chosen the language his world understood: fear, punishment, disappearance. Instead, he placed his medical records, transfer documents, and internal accounts on the desk. They go to independent investigators with her testimony. You'll lose everything. Then it was never mine to keep this way. Only after I nodded did Marcus enter and end the meeting. No spectacle. No private revenge. Richard left in Marcus's custody for immediate handoff to independent investigators, his own confession traveling ahead of him. Vanessa signed a full statement and faced the consequences of her choice. By morning, St. Catherine withdrew my suspension and publicly acknowledged that I had followed emergency protocol. Adrian refused to bury the report, even when silence could have restored his position faster. Outside the hospital, he handed me my badge and the old watch. Its glass was newly cracked. You're free to publish everything involving the hospital, he said. And free to leave. He did not offer money. He did not place guards around me. He did not ask what freedom would cost him. Trust isn't repaired in one night, I said. I know. I stayed until the investigation ended, not as his nurse, his debt, or something he had saved. I stayed because he had finally learned that protection without choice was only another cage. He had ruled the city by making people stay. He changed when he gave me every reason to leave, and let me choose otherwise.